Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Milncraft here from ProGamingLeagues.com, here to bring you a very exciting 1v1 between the red Terran player, e.g. Puma, and the blue Protoss player, oGs. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of the similar players, or the same players in some cases, very recently, where it's been a lot of the same people in a row. First of all, it's because I absolutely love watching oGs, and Puma's just a lot of fun to watch as well, but oGs is one of my favorite players. I definitely love watching his games. That's why I do him so much. The other reason that I chose this game, and I'll try to diversify it up just a little bit, but this is, those of you who remember the game that I casted at the North American Star League between oGs and e.g. Puma, which e.g. Puma, spoiler alert, apparently I can't say that. But spoiler alert. Anyway, alert. Puma did in fact win that in the best in all 7 games. It took all 7 games to beat MC. But anyway, that game was so epic that I decided that this game, which is just as sweet, from Intel Extreme Masters, this is the grand final of the Intel Extreme Masters. So again, they meet in the finals. This is the best of 3. And we get to see these two players duke it out again. I couldn't pass up that opportunity to be able to watch these games, so I'm super excited for these games. I absolutely really want to watch this, and I'll try to diversify up the people just a little bit in the future. But anyway, let's get excited for these two players. Now, I don't really need much of an introduction for these players, I feel like. Oh, it looks like he was just checking for a little bit of cheese there. Puma always trying to be safe. But Puma's really proven that he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He's actually been doing great. I believe he was in the last MLG, and he did very well in that MLG, and unfortunately, SCV did not get that supply depot down in time in order to be able to block the probe from coming in, so MC will get his probe inside. We'll see that the Terran's getting gassed, because that's basically all you're going to be able to see before the Marine gets out and you're able to chase away the probe, which MC's probe is actually putting himself to death here because a supply depot is going to get... Oh, no, maybe not. Okay, so it looks like the probe is going to be able to wander around for a little bit before that Marine pops in. Probably takes it out. Yeah, it looks like MC is just going to dance around that probe. Meanwhile, MC's opener looks a little fairly standard at this point. Very soon we'll see exactly how his build is going to diverge, because if he gets that second gas, that means he will not be expanding quickly, most likely. Sometimes Hawk does one gate expands with double gas. But it's more of a rare build, and I haven't seen MC do that. But it looks like he is not, in fact, getting gas, at least not at this point. He might want the minerals for the Stalker and the warp gate. So let's see with the next 75 gas, or 75 minerals. He's getting a pylon. So looks like the Zeld is able to chase away that SCV. Meanwhile, the probe was in fact taken out. A bunker's going up from Puma just to be ultra safe against any sort of rushes, and that SCV is going to hide. Nope, he's just going to head on back. Check for any pylons on his way out, and looks like MC is going to apply a little bit of gateway pressure off of one gate. I've seen MC do this a couple of times. Sometimes it's 3 Zealots, sometimes it's a Zeld and 2 Stalkers. The Stalkers actually have an easier time catching up because they're faster than Zelds, and it looks like that SCV will be reserved for scouting later on, at least for pylons, but it looks like MC is going to in fact expand behind this aggression, so he's going to be very careful with this aggression. He wants to do a little bit of damage, but he doesn't want to lose these units as he's going to need them in the future, especially the Stalkers. If he loses the Zeld, that's not the biggest deal in the world. He does see the bunker though. Puma was prepared, but he also sees the reactor on the barracks and the starport going down as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be going for the 1-1-1 build. This would be consistent with this build. Because you do want the reactor, and then you want... Looks like he will be starting out with Banshees, actually, so he very well could be doing the 1-1-1 build. A very, very scary build, especially to a Protoss player who fast expand. Is this Nexus? You will not be able to cancel this Nexus, and it is very, very, very difficult to hold this Nexus under those circumstances. So, but if MC... Oh, he's actually getting Cloak, huh? Alright, so it's possible Puma is still doing the 1-1-1 build. It is, I would say, slightly less likely, but I've definitely seen it done with Cloak before. It can easily be done. MC is going to be well prepared for this also. It's actually going to be a waste of minerals for Puma because the robotics is in fact going up for MC. He's being ultra safe, wanting to make sure he's going to have observers. So, you know, he might take some damage from the Banshee, but he should be able to hold it off pretty well. Stalkers do a pretty good job against Banshees as long as, you know, you don't lose too many of them when they're cloaked. Meanwhile, a couple more barracks are coming up, so it looks like Puma is probably not going to be going for an all-in at this point. He's just going to try to harass a little bit and then probably expand underneath it. Although, that's a lot of barracks, actually. It could still be an all-in, but it wouldn't be the dreaded 1-1-1 all-in. The timing would be a little bit different. It'd be a little bit later. Also, he hasn't started getting any siege tanks at this point, so the 1-1-1 is looking a lot less likely. A Raven actually is coming up. Oh, wow. So Puma actually could very well be going for the 1-1-1. Well, it's not the 1-1-1, but it's the Raven all-in. This build, I haven't seen this build in a long time, actually. This build is where you get, he decided to get 3 barracks, a factory, and a starport, but you move in, so he's going to do a little bit of harassment with his cloaked Banshee when it gets there. Looks like that probe's checking for the expansion. He's going to be very disappointed when he doesn't see it for some time. But anyway, this Banshee's going to get there, just going to do some harassment while it's cloaked, and actually, MC's not getting, I believe he only has 1. Oh, he does have 2 observers, and not only that, his observer's actually in the correct location to take out that Banshee. Wow, MC is good. I heard. Oh, it looks like the Raven was able to spot the observer here, so he was able to kill one of MC's observers. So MC is a little bit in the dark now about what's going on with Puma. He does know he has cloaked Banshees and a Raven though, so he has to suspect the all-in. And it can be very scary because, simply put, Marines are just really, really good. Especially when your Stalkers can't fire at them, which Stalkers are basically the counter to Marines, I guess, like Stalkers in force fields often. But when your Stalkers can't fire because they get point defense droned by the Raven, it's really difficult to defend. And it looks like Puma is in fact moving out. He's going to have probably about 100 energy on the Raven. It's probably time so that as soon as he gets there, siege mode rather is going to finish. He's not going to have stim, but he's able to build 4 Marines at a time. So this is a very big and dangerous force. He also has this. He also has the Raven and the. Oh, actually, MC is getting a second observer. I was going to say he has a Raven and a Banshee. The Banshee is actually out of energy because he forgot to decloak it, which Artosis talks about all the time, actually, about how bad Korean programmers are at decloaking their Banshees. If he had decloaked it, he could have saved some energy. He could use the Raven to spot for the observer, pop the observer with the Marines, and then cloak the Banshee. Looks like there's a lot of SCVs here, too, so let's see how this fight goes. There is a scan to get a good view of the positions of the armies right now, and looks like he's going to be very methodical with this. He does not want to, obviously, the entire game comes down to this combat, so he wants to be very careful. Now, one thing that's really important is actually point defense drone placement. You want it to be in range of the whole combat, but you also don't want it up front in case you need to retreat, because you obviously can't move it once you place it. Now, the siege tanks are in position, the bunker is building. This is going to put the pressure on MC to try to move out here, and actually he might just sacrifice this Nexus. Nice snipe on the SCV there. Unfortunately for him, Puma does have a number of extra SCVs. He decides to just cancel the barracks though, but that Nexus is going down. I think MC just recognized that and decided to let it go. Ooh, and his forces move out a little bit farther, but looks like MC is going to engage here. Point defense drone is going down now, blocking a lot of shots from the Stalkers. The Immortals, unfortunately, are still alive. However, they're not targeting the... Oh, there, he's able to target one of the siege tanks, and one of the siege tanks goes down. That means it's only 1 siege tank for Puma now. Now, unfortunately, the Observer was able to spot that Banshee, unfortunately for Puma there, so he did lose that Banshee. That was unfortunate. He should not have moved his forces quite so far, his forces quite so far forward. It looks like those Immortals, nice force fields, able to deal some extra damage to the Marines there. They are able to filter back a little bit. The point defense drone is able to gather some extra energy as well, and it looks like Puma is dealing a decent amount of damage, able to take the shields off most of the Immortals now, and Puma is actually going to want to try to re-engage here. I think he's waiting for reinforcements to stream in, but actually he's going to want to try to re-engage before the shields get back up on these Immortals, and it looks like the bunker is probably going to finish, but it's not going to be relevant. Nice target firing from MC. Able to take out the siege tanks there. Able to take out one Immortal that's big, but there's 3 others where that one came from. But it looks like this push is going to fail, in fact. And nice control from MC. Able to keep those Immortals alive. Immortals deal a decent amount of damage, actually, to Marines. And he's probably going to be able to chase these Marines all the way home and keep dealing damage to them. Now, MC did lose his Nexus there, so it's not... You know, it's not like for certain, I guess, that Puma is going to lose, but it is a 25 supply deficit at this point in time, and MC's army is bigger, and it's still nipping at the heels from Puma. So Puma definitely has a large deficit to overcome in this match. He also lost a lot of SCVs, I believe. Yeah, the SCV count, he's now down by 18 SCVs. Did I read that right? Yes. He is down by 18 SCVs. If you go to the Workers Loss tab, actually. The Workers Loss tab, it's fairly even, but because Puma prepared for, not Puma, because MC prepared for and was able to establish that expansion so early, it meant that he got a lot of extra workers as opposed to putting them into attacking units like Puma did, which, you know, that's why he got 3 racks starport and a factory, and he was able to produce basically from all of those off of the backs of basically just mules and by cutting SCVs. Looks like another Banshee is going to move back. I don't think, it looks like MC does not in fact have an observer back here. So MC actually might lose a decent amount of workers from this. I don't think MC is going to try to push up the ramp. It'd be very, very dangerous, especially since most likely the Raven is going to have another point defense drone. Looks like MC has spotted the Raven, however, or at least the close remnants of the Raven. That Raven's probably going to be able to pick off that sentry right there. Nice work for Puma. That already makes up for all the gas that was spent on the Banshee. And he's going to get one probe. The observer a little bit behind. Puma knows that. So it looks like Puma's going to keep his Banshee moving. Nice job. Nice, not quite nice control. He's actually attacked 3 separate probes. It's sometimes very difficult to be able to target fire the probes, especially when they're all on top of each other like that. But I would say that Banshee basically paid for itself. Probably didn't pay for Cloak, which he had to pay for, of course, earlier. But considering that Cloak was already there, definitely sending that Banshee out was a good call, and a little bit better target firing, he would have gotten to get a couple of more probe kills. It still leaves him far behind here, as he almost has half the number of workers. Now, the mineral counts are somewhat similar as a result of mules, but the gas counts are very different, so you know, basically Puma's going to be struggling, and Puma's expansion is not even up. Looks like Puma's actually just going for round 2 of the all-in. And actually, MC, with really good timing there, is going to be able to spot that. So he's going to have to retreat back down to his expansion. His expansion is up again, so he's going to have to defend that. But this round should be, actually, this is almost the same size. In fact, it's bigger for Puma. So let's see if this one's going to be successful, maybe with a little bit of control, but that's a lot of gateway forces there. If we go to total army size, wow, 27 supply difference would be very difficult for Puma to be able to be successful, and you gotta be careful with that Raven. Does not want that Raven to be picked up. Puts out the point defense drone. Nice timing on that. Now he wants the Marines to focus firing the Immortals, but he's actually just ignoring the Mortals and targeting the Zealots. Now the Zealots deal higher DPS to the Marines, but the Immortals are able to take out the tanks right away as a result of not targeting firing those down. And actually Puma is able to be successful there. And looks like MC is actually just going to retreat up. Now he doesn't have any anti-air actually for these Banshees. Wow, is Puma gonna win this game? Oh wow, that Immortal spawning at the exact incorrect time. Looks like Puma's actually targeting firing the pylon. I don't think that's a wise decision there. He actually now has another point defense drone on the Raven there, so that's going to be very effective in stopping this new round of Stalkers there. I don't think he's going to be able to hold this, as now the Banshees are protected from the Stalker fire resulting from the point defense drone, which energy is now gone, but at the same time, all the Marines are still alive, and I don't think MC is going to be able to win this. If MC somehow pulls out ahead here, I'm just going to be incredibly impressed with himself. And it looks like able to snipe one of the Banshees there. Nice job from MC, but the Marines are still going through, dealing a lot of damage to the buildings, taking out a number of their production structures as well. Now MC's income is going to be fine, but once Puma takes out all the production structures, and the Stalkers, as long as we're on that subject, then, I mean, he can, Puma can put half of his forces here, destroying the gateways. And actually, he should snipe that pylon for 2 of the gateways, stop them from being powered. But he is actually going to split his forces, able to take out that last Stalker. There's no way that Stalker is going to be able to get away. And yes, able to take out that last Stalker. Now he just needs to take out that pylon right there and this robotics bay. There'll be 1 gateway for MC, then MC is just going to be taken out. Meanwhile, though, there's no more defense for Puma. Puma has not been getting any Stalkers lately. I think his cyber is still up. He doesn't have any gas, though, as a result of the amount of ability to micromanage his workers. And that Banshee's dealing a lot of damage in addition to all of the Marines, killing all of MC's workers. I think MC is dead, folks. He still even has the original point defense drone here, which has regenerated all of its energy. And so that Stalker's not even able to fire at the Banshee there, which would normally be able to take it out. And MC actually lost that game. So round 2 of the all-in. This shows you, I guess, like the tenacity of Puma there, able to take out all of those forces in the second round of the all-in. And he first all-in didn't work. He didn't just GG out of the game. He decided, you know what, that didn't work. I'm gonna drop as many mules as I can, get as many forces as I can, send most of my SCVs again, and see if I can make it in round 2. And you know what? Round 2 was successful. He lost. It shows you also the power of Marines, because even though he lost the 3 siege tanks almost immediately to the Immortals, the huge amount he was actually target firing the Zealots with the Marines. And once the Marines took out all the Zelds, which they were tanked partially by the SCVs, then the Marines were just able to clean up the Immortals, because Immortals, of course, are horrible against Marines. So that was just a great job on his part. I would have guessed to target fire the Immortals, but he just said, you know what, screw